The morning sun spills softly through the curtains. A quiet house breathes, slow and steady. Somewhere a kettle hums, and an old clock ticks in rhythm. Mr. Allen sits by the window, his hands resting on his knees. He gazes outside, watching light dance on the leaves. For years he started each day like this, calm and thoughtful. But lately his shoulders have grown stiff, heavy with time. Lifting his arm to reach the shelf feels harder than before. The simple act of combing his hair takes effort. He sighs, remembering when movement felt effortless. A smile crosses his face as he whispers, "Maybe today I'll change that." He straightens his back, feeling the air fill his lungs. Outside a bird sings, reminding him of mornings long past. He remembers his doctor's words, "Slow and steady is the key." No rush, no pain, just gentle motion. He takes a deep breath, preparing to begin. Today is not about exercise or strength. It's about finding comfort again in his own body. The room feels warmer, lighter, full of quiet hope. And as he lifts his arm slowly, the journey begins. When Mr. Allen was younger, movement came like breathing. He used to paint for hours, his brush gliding across the canvas with ease. Each stroke carried a memory, a thought, a whisper of color and life. He would stretch his arms wide, holding the brush like a conductor's baton. But as the years passed, something changed quietly, almost unnoticed. One morning, he reached for a jar of paint and felt a dull pull in his shoulder. He ignored it at first, thinking it would fade like all small aches do. But the stiffness stayed, slow and stubborn. Soon, painting for hours became painting for minutes. He began to avoid reaching too high, too far, too often. His brushes rested more than they danced. And with each passing day, the world he loved to paint grew smaller. He missed the freedom of motion, the way art flowed through his body. It wasn't just his shoulder that felt tight, it was his spirit too. He started to believe that maybe this was how aging worked. You lose a little movement, a little strength, a little spark. Until one afternoon, while watching the sunset, he saw a different truth. The sky was streaked with orange and violet, and he thought, "It's not over yet." He remembered a time when he told his students, "Art is about patience." So why not apply the same to his body? The next day he went to his doctor, who smiled kindly and said, "Start slow. Move gently, breathe deeply, and listen to what your body tells you." Those words stayed with him like a quiet rhythm. He began reading about stretching, about flexibility and age. He learned that the body remembers movement, even after years of stillness. Muscles can awaken, joints can ease if treated with care. He decided to begin, not with grand exercises, but with stillness and breath. Every morning he placed his chair near the window, where the light was kind. He sat tall, feet flat, spine straight, eyes soft. The air felt fresh, cool against his skin. He started by rolling his shoulders forward, small and careful. At first the motion was limited, barely noticeable. But he didn't rush. He just kept breathing, slow and steady. Forward, backward, up, down, the rhythm of rediscovery. Some days were better than others. Some days the ache returned, sharp and familiar. But instead of stopping, he simply slowed down. He learned to treat each stretch like a brushstroke, gentle, intentional. The stiffness began to melt, not all at once but piece by piece. He could feel warmth spreading through his shoulders, a soft awakening. It wasn't just physical change, it was emotional too. The simple act of movement became a quiet form of gratitude. He started noticing small victories. Reaching the top shelf. Buttoning his shirt without a pause. Painting again without his shoulder trembling. The canvas filled once more with light and color. He realized something beautiful: the body, like art, thrives in patience. Every slow stretch, every breath, was an act of healing. And each day, as the sun rose, Mr. Allen greeted it with a gentle smile. Because he knew the truth now, healing doesn't happen fast. It happens slowly, tenderly, like a sunrise breaking through the clouds. The morning begins softly, the kind of quiet that invites reflection. Mr. Allen sits by the window, his chair facing the light. The sunlight paints a warm glow on his shoulders, calm and steady. He takes a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill his lungs. Each inhale is slower than the last, like time itself stretching gently. He places his feet flat on the ground, finding his balance. His palms rest on his thighs, relaxed but aware. There is no rush here, no pressure to perform. Only the simple intention to move, to heal, to begin again. He remembers his doctor's words echoing softly, one motion at a time. He nods to himself, whispering, "Slow is still progress." The world outside stirs, the wind brushing through leaves, distant laughter. Life continues, and so does he. He straightens his spine, feeling the length of it rise with the breath. The first movement is always the hardest. The body resists at first. But resistance, he's learned, is just fear in disguise. He rolls his shoulders forward, the motion small and cautious. There's a faint pull, not pain, just memory awakening. He keeps his movement slow, guided by breath, not by force. Forward pause, backward pause, like waves brushing the shore. The stiffness begins to ease, replaced by warmth, by presence. He lifts his chin slightly, letting his neck align with his spine. A sense of calm flows through him, like sunlight through water. He raises one arm, fingertips reaching for the ceiling. The stretch feels both foreign and familiar, like greeting an old friend. He holds it there, breathing in the quiet strength of the moment. Then he lowers his arm, smooth and deliberate, no tension, no rush. The other arm follows, slower still, learning patience. Each movement is a conversation between his body and his will. He listens carefully, adjusting, respecting his limits. It's not about reaching far, it's about reaching gently. He notices the rhythm: inhale, lift, exhale, release. His breath and his motion start to dance together. He smiles faintly, realizing he's moving without thinking now. It's almost meditative, a quiet ritual of renewal. The sound of his breath becomes the metronome of his morning. Every inhale fills him with life, every exhale with ease. He tilts his head from side to side, feeling tension unravel. The knots of stiffness loosen, replaced by a soft hum of energy. He pauses between movements, giving his body time to respond. Rest is as important as motion, he thinks. There is no finish line here, only gentle persistence. Outside, the light shifts, growing brighter. The warmth touches his hands, his face, his shoulders. He feels gratitude rising, not for what he's achieved, but for what he's allowing. This is not exercise. It's an act of kindness toward himself. A quiet reminder that strength doesn't shout, it whispers. He closes his eyes for a moment, letting silence settle inside. The morning feels full, alive, peaceful. He realizes that every stretch is more than movement. It's a promise that he's still here, still growing, still capable of change. Mr. Allen wakes earlier now, before the neighborhood stirs. He likes the quiet moments when the day hasn't fully arrived. The air feels cleaner, the light softer, the world gentler. He moves to his usual chair by the window, the one that knows his shape. He places a folded towel behind his back for support. Routine has become a comfort, a rhythm he looks forward to. He closes his eyes and listens to his breath, deep and steady. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. He begins with small circles, rolling his shoulders forward, then back. At first, the movement feels tight, like rusted hinges creaking open. But each rotation sends a ripple of warmth through his upper body. He counts softly, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathing with every motion. The rhythm calms him, steady and grounding. He shifts his focus to his arms, lifting one slowly toward the ceiling. He doesn't push. He allows the motion to unfold naturally. There's a stretch, a whisper of tension but not pain. He exhales, lowering his arm as gently as lifting it. Then the other arm rises, mirroring the first, graceful and patient. His body feels like a river, returning to its course. He moves to the next stretch, reaching both arms out to his sides. His fingertips spread, reaching outward, expanding his chest. He holds the pose, feeling space bloom inside his shoulders. It's subtle, but he feels lighter, as if his breath flows farther. The stiffness that once defined him begins to lose its grip. He lowers his arms and rests them on his thighs, taking a long breath. He feels the pulse in his shoulders, slow but alive. His movements aren't exercises anymore, they are conversations. He's learning to listen to what his body says without judgment. Sometimes it asks for stillness, sometimes it asks for motion. He's learning that both are valid, both are healing. He tilts his head to the right, then left, stretching the neck. A small sigh escapes him, the kind that follows release. He smiles, eyes still closed, as a beam of sunlight warms his face. He imagines his joints thanking him for showing up today. He thinks about how many days he avoided movement out of fear. Fear of pain, fear of failure, fear of aging. But now he knows stillness isn't safety, it's surrender. And he's done surrendering. The slow movements bring him back to himself, inch by inch. He realizes how deeply connected breath and motion truly are. When his breath falters, his body tenses. When he breathes deeply, the body follows, trusting. He feels a balance return, not youthful energy but quiet strength. The kind that grows in people who have lived long enough to understand patience. He finishes his final stretch and lets his arms rest again. His heartbeat slows, calm and even. He sits still, feeling both effort and ease coexisting. Outside, a gentle breeze brushes against the glass. He whispers softly, "Thank you, body, we're learning together." It's a small prayer, but it carries weight. Because in that moment, he isn't just stretching his shoulders. He's stretching his life, reaching for freedom, one slow breath at a time. The days pass quietly, each one blending softly into the next. Mr. Allen keeps his promise. Every morning he shows up. The chair, the sunlight, the slow rhythm of breath, they've become his ritual. It's not a routine of discipline, but one of devotion. He no longer measures progress in inches or seconds. He measures it in comfort, in calm, in peace of mind. There was a time he believed movement had to be strong to matter. Now he understands, gentleness can be its own kind of strength. Each slow stretch is like a whispered conversation with his body. "Are you ready?" he asks. And his shoulders answer in silence, through warmth and motion. The more he listens, the more he learns. He's learned that healing doesn't come from rushing forward. It comes from being still long enough to notice change. The world outside moves fast, cars, phones, people chasing minutes. But inside his small space, time expands. He moves in slow motion, and in that slowness he finds clarity. He thinks about how life mirrors the body. When you rush through it, you miss the subtleties, the small joys, the quiet grace. He remembers his younger self, painting quickly, afraid to waste a moment. Now he paints differently, slower, more deliberate. He takes longer to mix colors, to find the right tone. The strokes are fewer, but each one means more. That's what these stretches have taught him. Meaning grows in stillness. He realizes that slowing down isn't giving up. It's a form of respect for time, for effort, for self. He feels the same truth in every gentle roll of his shoulders. When he moves too fast, the pain returns. When he moves with care, the body rewards him with ease. He laughs softly, thinking how the same applies to everything. Friendships, conversations, even love, all thrive in patience. He pauses, resting his hands on his knees, eyes closed. His breath moves like a tide, steady and familiar. He feels grounded, as if each breath connects him to the earth. The tension that once haunted his mornings now visits less often. And when it does, he greets it kindly without fear. He's stopped fighting his body. Instead, he's begun working with it, like two partners learning to dance again. Some days his movements are smooth, other days they stumble. But he no longer sees that as failure. He sees it as a reminder: progress is not a straight line. It's a slow spiral, circling closer to balance with every turn. The slowness itself has become a teacher. He's discovered the quiet joy of feeling each moment fully. No distractions, no expectations, just breath and motion. Sometimes, when he finishes stretching, he sits a little longer. He watches the light move across the floor, inch by inch. It reminds him that even light travels slowly when it touches something deeply. He smiles, realizing that in slowness he's found freedom. The kind of freedom that doesn't rush, it unfolds. Like morning sunlight spreading across his shoulders, one soft breath at a time. The morning is quiet, filled with soft light and steady air. Mr. Allen sits in his chair, ready for his daily ritual. He takes a deep breath, slow and deliberate, feeling the weight of calm. His body remembers what to do before his mind even speaks. He rolls his shoulders backward, smooth and easy. The joints respond with a soft warmth, a whisper of motion returning. Forward now, slower, more controlled, guided by breath. Inhale as the shoulders lift, exhale as they fall. He counts softly under his breath, finding rhythm in repetition. The motion feels like music, and he is both conductor and instrument. Next, he lifts his right arm toward the ceiling, fingers reaching for the light. He feels the stretch across his chest, a reminder of space within. He holds it there, just for a moment, breathing through the stillness. Then he exhales and lowers the arm with care. He repeats the motion with the left, slower this time, listening closely. Each side feels different, one freer, one tighter, but both alive. He doesn't compare them, he simply observes. That's the lesson he's learned: awareness over judgment. He brings both arms out to the side, forming a wide T shape. His palms face forward, fingers extended. The stretch opens his chest, and he feels energy flow outward. He imagines light moving from his fingertips into the room. The air feels lighter, his breath deeper. He lowers his arms slowly, resting them again on his thighs. He tilts his head gently to the right, then left. The motion is small, but it releases a surprising wave of tension. He feels his neck lengthen, his shoulders settle back. He pauses, allowing the stillness to settle. He moves to a new stretch, hands clasped together, arms forward. He pushes gently, feeling his shoulder blades widen. It's a tender stretch, not sharp, not forced. He breathes into it, letting each inhale create space. Then he relaxes, shoulders dropping, arms resting by his sides. He closes his eyes, letting the sensations linger. His breathing is calm, almost silent. The body hums softly, as if thanking him for the kindness. This isn't about exercise, he thinks. It's about respect, the quiet kind that doesn't demand anything. He opens his eyes and notices how bright the morning has become. The light feels different now, not just seen but felt. His joints are warm, his muscles awake, his spirit light. He thinks about how these movements changed him. Not in how far he can reach, but in how deeply he feels. He used to think stretching was simple. Now he knows it's sacred. A moment of honesty between body and mind. He finishes with one final breath, deep, slow, and full of gratitude. He whispers softly, Thank you for another morning. And in that moment, the room feels still, but alive. He can feel his heart sinking with the rhythm of his breath. No strain, no tension, just harmony. He smiles, knowing that these gentle movements are not small at all. They are proof that even slow motion can bring great change. He stands, shoulders loose, and greets the day with quiet strength. The days have grown brighter since Mr. Allen began his journey. What started as stiffness has become a language of awareness. Each stretch, each breath, each pause, they've built something invisible yet strong. He doesn't count progress in how high he can lift his arms anymore. He measures it in how light his mornings feel. He reads sometimes, curious about the science behind what he's doing. He learns that slow stretching increases blood flow to the muscles. That movement helps joints stay lubricated and alive. That flexibility isn't lost with age, it just asks for patience. He smiles when he reads these things because he's living proof of them. The warmth he feels after each session is no longer just emotional. It's biology, it's healing, it's the body remembering itself. He's learned how tension hides in places he never noticed. In his shoulders, in his jaw, even in his breath. And with every gentle movement, he learns to let it go. He thinks about how often people underestimate slowness, how the world celebrates intensity but forgets presence. He used to think rest was weakness. Now he knows rest is wisdom, the body's way of rebuilding quietly. When he talks to friends, he tells them about his small practice. Some laugh, saying, "It's just stretching." He laughs too, because he knows it's more than that. It's meditation through motion, healing through humility. He tells them how his sleep has improved, how his posture feels stronger, how his mind feels clearer after every session. It's as if the gentle movements untie knots inside not just his muscles, but his thoughts. He remembers the doctor's words, "Consistency is medicine." And now he believes it. He hasn't missed a day in months, not because he has to, but because he wants to. The ritual has become a friend, patient, reliable, forgiving. He's found that the more he moves, the more he understands his body's rhythm. He listens to it now, trusting its pace. Even on the days when stiffness returns, he doesn't get frustrated. He simply breathes deeper and begins again. Every inhale is a reminder of resilience. Every exhale, a release of old tension, old fear. He has learned that healing isn't linear, it's layered, subtle, ongoing. Sometimes he catches himself standing taller, shoulders relaxed, heart open. It's in those moments he realizes how far he's come. Not just in movement, but in patience. He no longer fights his age, he moves with it. He treats each day as a chance to listen, to care, to grow. He ends each practice with a long, slow breath. Eyes closed, hands resting softly on his lap. He feels his pulse, steady and calm. The science may explain the why, but the feeling explains the truth. That even the slowest stretch carries the power to change a life. He whispers, still moving, still learning. The sunlight touches his shoulder like a quiet nod of approval. And for the first time in years, he feels completely at home in his body. The afternoon sun leans gently across the room. Mr. Allen sits quietly, his shoulders soft, his breath calm. The light feels warmer now, almost like an old friend visiting. He thinks about how far he's come, not fast but faithfully. What began as stiffness became a journey of rediscovery. He no longer fears movement, he welcomes it with grace. Each stretch taught him something about patience, about presence. He learned that the body doesn't ask for perfection, only attention. He smiles, remembering the first morning he could lift his arms freely. It wasn't victory he felt, it was peace. Now, every slow motion feels like gratitude in disguise. The world outside still moves quickly, but he doesn't chase it anymore. He's found his rhythm, steady and sure. He whispers softly, "Thank you, body, for staying with me." His hands rest on his lap, palms open, ready for the next breath. The room is still, but alive with quiet energy. He feels light, grounded, whole. The journey isn't over, it never really ends. It simply continues, one slow stretch, one calm breath at a time.